And you can learn something from the extremes also, right? And when you look at the athletes, right? There's a certain extreme mindset that I was gonna say you have to take on. I don't know that you have to take it on. What I do know is that in this society, we worship that mindset that, it's the can you become Michael Jordan without that mindset? And that is a really powerful, difficult question. It's like most people can't sustain the mindset that, fortunately, because it can be so destructive, but most people can't sustain that level of discipline to manifest the things that they want in their life. And there's a poisonous edge to that kind of discipline. And I've been to the edge of that kind of material world discipline in my mind. And I can tell you, you can have a whole lot of stuff and be miserable out there on that edge. And I found a much more comfortable and productive space in my life. And you still need that discipline.
Yes.
But it's like when you use that kind of power to achieve things, it's like there's a brutal reckoning.
Yeah, I talk about the idea of natural destruction versus self-destruction.
Yeah.
And, impermanence is the law of the universe. So things are going to deteriorate. Everything's going to grow, it's going to deteriorate and die, and you got to be ready to make the next thing, and that's natural, right? So we all have to contend with the entropy of the universe in that way. That's why it's such a crime when you do it to yourself. That's one of the things that I hope people can take away from the book when you see
That's
you're not going to get around that.
Yeah.
That you're not going to get around the rise and fall and the rise and fall of.
You just got to be able to hold on to yourself.
Just got to be able to hold on, and it's like it's endure when it's time to endure, enjoy when it's time to enjoy. But you're not going to get around the ups and downs of that. And it took me a few of them to realize that it's not because I'm stupid. It's not because I'm weak. It's not because I'm a coward. It's not any of that. It's like, that's what life is.
Yeah.
That's what it is, and all of those things are the natural ebb and flow and the natural rise and fall. And if we can relax, and settle into it, then we can enjoy, when the springtime is there, and we just buckle down when the winter comes, but we're not going to be able to get around seasons.
I feel stuck in a perplexing situation with people I love where there's not clean answers, right? And I always feel strong enough, like if you want to fight, we can fight. I know how to fight, but how can that be the right thing, And I just really related to how the Gita handles those kinds of perplexing situations and recognizing that's what life is. You are born into a perpetual perplexing situation. And that it was the first time that I'd ever heard the spiritual idea like that life is a perplexing situation. You're never gonna get around being stuck in the duality. You have to elevate above the whole thing. you know, and the Christian concept about that I always heard and never understood fully. My grandmother would say all the time, you gotta let go and let God.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it was like that. It just, you know, the Gita filled in that concept of what it really means. It doesn't mean don't do anything.
Yeah.
Let go and let God doesn't mean don't do anything.
Yeah.
It means do your divine duty, whatever that may be. I enjoy connecting with people and ideas, and you know, I have a mission statement. So every year for probably the past 10 years, I've worked out a mission statement for myself. And for the last few years, the mission statement has stayed the same, and it's been improve lives, right? So when I go into something, I'm looking for how the quality of this piece could potentially improve lives. But it's all along the way. It's when you make the movie and how you're interacting with people in the process. And you know, the concept of improving lives runs through the center of everything I do. And then I realized that the way to improve lives is to continually improve yourself, right? So with that, every morning when I get out of the bed, you know, I haven't fixed everything in the world yet, so there's always something to do. And in this film, I read an interesting quote from the Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha. He said that good people have to get out of the bed every day and try to empty the ocean with a ladle. Try to empty the ocean with a soup spoon, you know, as the mentality of how you wake up every day to try to do good in the world. So for me, I'm really driven by continually trying to elevate my mind and elevate my spirit and care for my body, and to be able to love as many people as effectively as possible with this mystery of life that I've been given. Called the broken calculator, right? So, and it's about, you know, human interacting, and that the ego can sometimes be a broken calculator in that, imagine the 7 is stuck down. So every equation you punch in is 7 equals 7 equals 7 equals 7 equals 7, right? So no matter what you say to a person, if they've experienced a trauma, and in their trauma, you know, men ain't shit. Men ain't shit. So that's the broken 7. So no matter what you say, no matter how you behave, it keeps coming up, men ain't shit. And getting our 7 unstuck is a really critical part of being able to interact with other human beings, because we're painting on everything we hear them say. We're adding our stuck 7 to everything they say, and you just can't get the equation to come out correctly if your calculator's broken.
I think that there's a certain delusional quality that all successful people have to have. You have to believe that something different than what has happened for the last 50 million years of history. You have to believe that something different can happen. I'm motivated by fear.
Fear.
You know?
Fear of what?
Fear of fear. I hate being scared to do something. And I think what developed in my early days was the attitude that I started attacking things that I was scared of.
It was Franklin Roosevelt said the only fear you have to fear is fear itself.
Absolutely.
Remember that?
Absolutely. Yeah. Greatness is not this wonderful, esoteric, elusive, God-like feature that only the special among us will ever taste. You know, it's something that truly exists in all of us. It's very simple. this is what I believe, and I'm willing to die for it. Period. It's that simple.
I know who I am, but I know what I believe.
I know who I am, I know what I believe.
That's all I need to know.
And that's all I need to know. So from there, you do what you need to do.
Yeah.
You know, and I think what happens is we make the situation more complex than it has to be.
Because we're looking for complexity. There's got to be
Absolutely.
something complex to understand.
It
Right?
can't be that easy.
You know.